Good morning, Savannah, and welcome to the Savannah Business Showcase. I'm your host, Razz, and I'm here this morning with a very, very special guest, Miss Leilani Lowry. She's the owner of Yippee Cone Cakes, yippieconecakes.com. That's Yippee conecakes.com. Leilani, we have a lot to get into. I'm actually very excited about the show.
Me too.
The way I like to start the show is with the scenario.
Okay.
So you're walking through your neighborhood. A little kid comes up to you and says, Leilani, you're my hero. How can I be like you when I grow up? So in the language that a 10 or 12-year-old can understand, what does it take to be Leilani Lowry?
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Okay, yeah, happy.
Well, to answer your very interesting and intriguing question, in respect to being a business owner, are you asking? Or
what does it take to be Leilani? However you want to ask it. Business owner, person.
Well, I guess I would tell, as if I was talking, I have a 12-year-old daughter. Mm-hmm. So if she would have asked me that,
perfect.
I would say to follow your heart. And if you do that, then your life will turn out, hopefully, the way that you want it to. And I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I have worked at that my entire life. And so I really would encourage young people to do the same. And so, but I am a mom of two beautiful girls, ages 12 and 14, and I spent a big chunk of the last, 14 years of my life being a mom and raising my girls, and just now stepping out into the business world. And so,
so one big reason I'm excited because I saw I looked at your website after we met at Marjorie Young's event at the SBDC. I looked at your website and I was just blown away by like how beautiful it is. Like, it's just such an amazing website.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I could tell that this is not your first website.
Well, it's the only website I've ever designed myself.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I use Shopify, and they actually make it really easy.
Okay.
But I had a vision of what I wanted to look like, and I looked at some other websites and to get some ideas, and I just said, you know what, I can do this.
Yeah.
And so I take my own pictures, which helps a lot, and saves me a lot of money. And so I built it from scratch, and I'm very proud of it. I think it's a beautiful website too, actually. I'm very proud of it. So.
And you should be. It's great. How okay. Step back. We'll get back to that.
Okay.
We'll get back to the website stuff. So like, what was the idea behind Yippee Cone Cakes?
Okay, so I grew up making cone cakes, and let me explain to your listeners what a cone cake is. So a cone cake is very simply a cupcake baked inside an ice cream cone. And my mother, when she was a little girl, she bought a cookbook, a Betty Crocker cookbook for boys and girls, and the recipe was in there. And so she made them as a kid and loved them. And then she made them for us, my brothers and I, while we were growing up. And so I started making them for my girls, and it became their absolute favorite treat, dessert. They asked for it all the time. Yeah. All of the school events we go to, they want me to bring cone cakes. And so there's a problem with baking cone cakes, which is they become top heavy as the batter rises and they tip over. And you add icing, and they're just challenging to take to events, and even just taking them out of the oven and is a balancing act. And so I kept telling my husband, there's got to be a better way to bake these things. And so I just started experimenting in my kitchen. I had a circle cookie cutter, and I literally stood in my kitchen and said, what can I cut out with this cookie cutter that would hold these things up? What can I use? And so I went to Michael's and I found some baking cups, and I looked at some other things, and the baking cups looked like they might work. And so they're just paper bake-safe baking cups. And I turned one upside down, poked a hole in it, and tried it out in the oven, and it worked. And so I thought, I think I might have something here. And so I ordered some samples from a manufacturer in China of baking cups.
Okay.
Cut holes out of them and did some more trying and, baking in the oven with them, making sure that they truly were bake safe, and decided that I really liked the idea and decided that I was going to test the product and get some product testers on board, which is what was my next step.
Okay. Well, that shouldn't have been too hard. Product testers.
Yeah. Well, I wanted people I didn't know.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I went to a Facebook group that I was part of called, I think it's Brilliant Business Moms. And I just put a request on there that I was looking for product testers without saying what my product was, that it was a baking product, and that was it. And I got over 80 responses. People who I said they need to be a mother who enjoys baking with their children, because this product, the cone cakes, are great for kids, and I really wanted to target moms with kids. So I got over 80 responses, and they all had to sign a non-disclosure, and so I ended up, through that process, getting down to about 45 testers, and I sent them all my product with cones and cake mix and icing and a survey, and they baked using my product, filled out the survey, and sent it back to me.
Awesome.
Based on the results, which were overwhelmingly positive, I decided to start a business. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
It's been fun, and I have a patent pending. So
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what did you do before this? So you said you always want to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So like all those steps, right? All those steps that you took before you started your business are things that most people wouldn't do. They just wouldn't just jump into it. So who are your mentors? Like who taught you how to get to that point? Like, those are the type of questions.
Yeah. Well, my dad is self-employed and always has been.
Okay.
So I lean on him a lot for advice, and this is not my first entrepreneurial experience.
Okay.
Before I had kids, I had an idea for a business, and it was a bigger idea than I was really prepared for. But at that point, when I had that idea, I started talking to people and asking, what do I do if I have an idea? And I found that Savannah has a lot of free resources for entrepreneurs. And so there's SCORE, which is the Senior Corps of Retired Executives. That's where I started out with my first business idea. And through my counselor at SCORE, which is a free service, by the way, I learned a lot about how to start a business and just various steps you need to take to if you're going to explore that. And so I did dive into that business for a couple of years, and it didn't work out. But so that's kind of where I got my feet wet. And so then I became a mom, and like I said, I have been a stay-at-home mom for the last 14 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for you there. I was a stay-at-home dad for 2 years of my son's life. Well, at-home dad. I try not to stay at home too much, but I was for my 2 years of my son's life. It was about 6 months to a year of my daughter's life too. Yeah. And so a lot of respect there, definitely, because it's hard. That's hard work too.
It is hard, but I found it incredibly rewarding, more so than I actually didn't have any plans to be a stay-at-home mom. I put my daughter in daycare when she was 6 weeks. No, I'm sorry, she was 3 months old when I put her in daycare, and I just found that I was sad, and I wanted her home, and I wanted to be with her, and it was a right fit for me at my time of life, and So yeah, I changed course and decided I'm raising kids. And so that's what I did for a number of years, and still am, of course. And but it was really great, and I loved being at home. Yeah. But my kids are getting older, and they're not relying on me so much. And I had this idea, and so I just decided it was time. I looked at my husband and I said, "Do you want to do this? Are you ready to do this?" Yeah. And he said, "I'm ready. Let's go." So we jumped in. And it's been fun.
That's awesome. So how has the reception been so far?
It's been really good.
Okay.
So right now I sell online primarily. And I've gotten a lot of orders, and a lot of people talking about it, asking questions. People are really curious. It's been super fun. I am getting ready to do a trade show. So I'm going to be at the Southern Women's Show. Nice. And I'll have a booth there. And I'm most excited about that, because more so than even the online sales, because I really want to meet my customers and see them face to face, and how they respond to my product and to my to cone cakes in general. And I find a lot of people have never heard of them, and so I'm excited to teach the world and at least the women in Savannah about what cone cakes are and how my product can help them. And so
let's dive into it then. What's your plan? I've never done a trade show before, and I've never had a booth at a trade show, but I'm assuming that the goal is to stand out as much as possible so that people want to come see you, right? So like, what is your plan to stand out? Because you have a great product. It's very niche. Like the niche. Once the customer finds you, they're gonna love you, right?
I hope so.
Right, because it's just you're gonna find customers where they either don't understand. I assume that you're going to find customers where they either don't understand what you're doing or they're going to love you more than anything else they heard about in their life, right? So like, how are you going to stand out to find the people that want?
Well, one thing I'm going to be doing at the trade show itself.
Yes.
I'm going to be baking cone cakes and giving out samples. And so anybody who's thinking about going, I encourage you to come by my booth and try a cone cake. And you'll see why we love them so much. They're so yummy and cute. And so that I think will draw people, and just the smell of baking cake will be enough to get them. Yeah, we're going to bake them there. I'm bringing a little oven.
Awesome.
And my daughter, my 14-year-old, is going to be with me. She's going to be my baker, and I'm really curious to see how this goes because it's just her and I for a whole weekend.
You got to bring a little fan too to blow this.
Yes, I know. So, and then once they come to my booth, I'm going to have a display of beautifully decorated cone cakes and be there to answer questions and hand out samples and show people my product and how you use it. And so the bases come in 6 different colors, and they're very cute. And so you can decorate the bases themselves after you bake in them too. So we'll be doing some of that. And so
that's awesome. That's awesome. So this is a question I usually say for the lightning round, but like, what are you teaching your daughter about entrepreneurship? And you only have one kid, or you have 2?
I have 2 daughters. They both know a lot about entrepreneurship because I talk about it constantly, and I think I talk about it so much that they've completely lost interest. But I do. It is because my husband's an entrepreneur too. He's a lawyer, but he has his own law firm. He started a firm, 11 years ago, I think, and so that's just life for us, and so we do talk a lot about the benefits of being an entrepreneur, just working for yourself is amazing. And honestly though, neither of them really, they have both told me they don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't know what I've done wrong, but my older daughter has interest in law enforcement.
Oh, really? Okay.
And she recently joined the Savannah Police Explorers program. Do you know what that is? I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a volunteer program for teens through the Savannah Police Department, and it introduces them to the world of law enforcement. And so they meet twice a month. And so she's interested. She has a strong interest in law enforcement, and she wants to be a FBI agent or a detective or something. Yeah. And my younger daughter doesn't know what she wants to do. I think she wants to be a teacher. Okay. But but they help me at home. I punch the holes out of these myself. So out of the bases, and so I recruit them to help and package, and everything's done in our dining room. And so they're learning all about starting a business from scratch, because when my husband started his, they were tiny, they were babies, but so they're learning a lot.
Yeah, I've noticed that with a lot of people I interview is that most of the parents, the older the parents who've been entrepreneurs for a long time, their children don't want to. I don't know why that is.
They may come around. When they're adults, they may get out in the world and be like, I kind of liked what my parents did, and so I'm hopeful. But as long as they're happy, it's fine with me.
Right.
So
especially when it comes to having kids, it's nice to have that flexibility.
Right. It's true. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Right.
Versus having to ask someone for time off.
To
see your kids. Which is weird.
That's right.
Anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to mention really quick is I interviewed a lady, Bonnie Rochelle. She is the owner of a nonprofit in Guyton, and she was what she does is she does It's the equestrian center. So she teaches disabled children how to ride horses.
Cool.
And she was a retired police officer, so it might be somebody to reach out to. Yeah,
great.
She retired from Savannah.
Okay, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it might be a good chance for your daughter to go get some community service and volunteer out there, but also get some advice from Bonnie.
Absolutely.
Law enforcement as a woman.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For sharing that.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the goals with the business? So like what's your ultimate goal? Where do you see it going?
I would really like to see that selling this product in stores would be fantastic. I'd like to make them accessible to everybody, so where they don't have to go online and buy them and pay shipping and all of that. So I just want to grow organically, just, get the word out there, word of mouth, and then I think after I've done a number of trade shows, I would like to start offering them wholesale to some local shops in Savannah first, and see how that goes, and then just widen the net of stores that sell that sell my product over time. And but yeah, eventually it would be fantastic if you could go to the grocery store. Yeah. And you buy your cones and your cake mix and your icing, and then my bases are sitting, hanging on a rack right there next to everything, and you can just buy all the supplies at once. So that would be the ultimate goal. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that way everything's just right there. Have you ever thought about Amazon or?
I have thought about Amazon. I'm not interested in Amazon right now because of the volume they require. Because I'm punching holes in these in my house, I have a press machine that I use. It's a manual punch, and I don't think I could handle thousands of orders, which would be great, but I can't handle that volume right now. Right. I am just really just getting started. I launched January 20th. It's been about 6 weeks. Yeah. So Amazon is definitely, down the road in the future. I would like to put my product on there eventually. But I'm learning a lot about what my customers think and want. And so I feel like I have a lot to learn before I
venture out there. I guess I would be afraid like Amazon, like other sellers are trying steal the idea and promote it,
That's right. Well, I'm fingers crossed my patent goes through, because if I have the patent, then I don't have to worry so much about that. I agree. And that was actually one of the hesitations I had when I first had this idea. Was it's so easy. Who's going to stop everybody else from doing this too? That's interested in this, right. And but I got a good lawyer. He's not my husband. My husband's a great lawyer, but he's a trial lawyer. I found a business lawyer that did a really fantastic patent for me, and so yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What? So let's take a step back. So we talked before the show. You're not from Savannah.
Nope.
So how'd you end up in Savannah, and where are you from?
I'm from Rochester, New York. That's where I graduated high school. And then I went to college in upstate New York as well. And then I moved to Portland, Oregon. Okay. And I was living out there with my two brothers. Okay. And that's where I met my husband. And he was out there for law school. And we both decided we wanted to live back on the East Coast because our parents were on the East Coast. So, so we moved to Atlanta. We just wanted to be warm, and we picked Atlanta, and didn't love it. He's from the DC area.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and Atlanta was, there's a lot of great things about Atlanta, but the traffic was we just didn't want to start a life in a city that big where you spend so much time in your car. So he applied and got a job here. He had passed the bar by that time, and in Georgia. So we knew we were going to stay in Georgia. And so, he got offered a job here, and that was 19 years ago. Okay. And so we put roots down, and we are here. We love Savannah. Yeah. We so happy to be raising our children here. And so the city's been good to us. And so.
Yeah, we feel the same way. We love Savannah too. We lived in Chicago for a couple of years. We're originally from North Carolina, but I love Savannah. I guess I can't speak for my wife too much, but I love Savannah. Yeah. It kind of has a little bit of everything you need. You have the beach if you want to get to the mountains. It's not too far away to go.
That's right.
up a little bit above Atlanta. So
yeah,
it's a beautiful area.
Yeah, we love it too. We've lived downtown. We've lived on Wilmington Island. Now we live out on Skidaway Island, and it's so beautiful. And my husband, I say he's so lucky. He's got the best of both worlds, because we live out there, and he comes home to, the lush beauty of Skidaway every evening. But then he gets to work downtown and be in the hustle and bustle of downtown Savannah. And but yeah, we're very happy here. So,
and it seems like a great city to start a business.
It is.
Maybe it's because I'm meeting all these entrepreneurs and business owners, but like there are so many free resources. There are so many groups and communities and networking events. Yeah, and everybody genuinely wants to help everybody else.
That's right.
Which has been awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and that's the biggest piece of advice I'd have for somebody is to reach out. There's so many free resources that that's not a reason to not get started, as you don't know what to do, because you can discover all sorts of ways to get help and grow your business here in Savannah. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And that goes for anywhere, but you're right, especially in Savannah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you said your father was a business owner, self-employed. What did he do?
Right now, he and his wife, they own a bed and breakfast in Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Black Lantern Inn, if anybody's visiting there. But he has, for most of my life, run a business called Transportation Advisory Services, where he consults school districts on their transportation department and the funding that they get and how to, better appropriate their funds. And so that's been his main business, and but he always has little side hustles that he's interested in, antiques and various little businesses that he's done over the years. But he's very much an entrepreneur and has a lot of spirit, and so I learned a lot from him. Yeah.
And that's my life in a nutshell. A lot of little side gigs.
Yes. It is. It's. We tend to have shiny object syndrome. We get these really great ideas and you just dive in, and but it's fun to live that way. So yeah.
I like that shiny object syndrome. I've heard it called like squirrel syndrome, or like entrepreneurial squirrel syndrome, or something like that.
Yeah.
You see a squirrel like your dog. Okay, cool. Yeah, one day I'm gonna sit down and write down all the jobs and gigs I've had. I'm 31 and I know I've had at least that many jobs.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
between like Uber and little, just little things all over America.
Yeah.
Cool. And my wife's the exact opposite. The one job. Father-in-law is the exact opposite. One job for the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
But some people are just different.
Yeah.
Cool. So who influences you then? Because I'm assuming you read. I'm assuming you listen to podcasts. I'm assuming
I do.
You do all this stuff. So like, who's some of the people who influence you to stay motivated and stay an entrepreneur? And excel.
Yeah. Probably. Well, my husband is absolutely my biggest cheerleader, and we talk all the time about business, and he's got a lot of ideas too, and we're always talking about entrepreneurship, and but I do listen to a lot of podcasts, and because I'm a product entrepreneur, I listen to a podcast called The Product Boss, which is actually a newer one, but they especially for somebody who's just starting, they have a lot of great resources, and there are other podcasters that I listen to. I love to read books. In fact, I've got, probably like most people, just a stack of books I can't even get through. There's so many out there that are fantastic. Right. And my family, I have a big family, and they all support me and my ideas, and a lot of them are the same way. So we're all supporting each other, and but yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah.
What's this is a lightning round question, but
okay.
What are your favorite business books? Or what's one you've read recently that has inspired you? It's hard to say.
My husband got me Guerrilla Marketing for Christmas, and so I'm reading that, and it's good. And there's a lot of traditional marketing techniques in there, but then they update it every few years, and they bring in of the newer technology and obviously social media and all that. And so I've been reading that and I like that. And there's another one. The name is escaping me that has been really Profit First. Have you heard of Profit First?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just a really interesting way of setting up your business. So basically, it's an accounting method of the way to run your business. And so basically you take profit off the top, not the bottom. And so I'm not done with that, but I've been reading through that, and I don't know if I'm going to incorporate it, but it's been really fascinating and forces you to think of a different way of setting up your business.
Right. Mike Michalowicz. I think this is the is it Mike? Yeah, Mike Michalowicz is the
yes.
Yeah, he's really close friends with Jesse Cole, the owner of Savannah Bananas, and I had been working with him.
Oh, okay.
So so I'm definitely familiar with the book. It I got the audio book and I stopped right when we started talking about all the different accounts because I want to try and like incorporate that in my business as well.
Yeah.
So I figured I would actually stop
yes.
and actually do it before I continue the book.
Right. Yeah. So instead of sales minus expenses equals profit, it's sales minus profit. And what's left over you use to pay your expenses. And that just turns everything on its head. You know, right. I mean, we're all taught sales minus expenses equals profit, but that leaves a lot of entrepreneurs with little or no profit at working for free. And so the mindset of Profit First is if you give yourself something, even if it's just 1%, 2%, then at least you're feeling good about your business and you actually feel like you're working for something rather than you're working for nothing. Right. And so, so I really like that. The book is really good and I'm almost done with it. So I want to finish it and then make the decision. I talked to my banker about it actually. Okay. He had never heard of it. Really? And he kind of looked at me a little funny.
Of course, yeah.
And I said I might be coming back in to open about 4 or 5 accounts because you open up several different accounts and you allocate funds into each account. And so he said, all right, I'm here for you. So, but yeah, so.
Yeah. And then it makes you think differently about your expenses too. It's like, do I really need this, website builder, or do I really need this, this app?
Yes.
So it's like, can I make things work without it?
Right. Because he talks a lot about we spend too much money on things that we don't necessarily need, and we think we do, but we really don't. And so it gets you thinking about those kind of, expenses and so. Right.
Yeah. And so far, that's the biggest takeaway I've taken from it. It's like, do I really need? I don't know, what's something I had to get rid of? Like an email or contact management system. They can be $60 to $100 a month, or do I really need that?
Yeah.
With 100 customers, No, I don't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, what we're going to do, Leilani, is we're going to take a break. How can people find you? How can they get in touch with you? What's the best way?
The best way to find me is my website, which is yippieconecakes.com. And all my contact information is on the website, but I, email Leilani at yippieconecakes. I'm also on Facebook, which is at yippieconecakes. So, yeah.
When is the trade show?
The trade show is at the end of March, the Southern Women's Show.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I don't want to be wrong, but I think it's around the 24th, 25th.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. And we're going to take a break really quick, but stick around because Leilani has a special offer for all the listeners out there. So stick around with us until the end of the show, and we'll be back in just a second.